He's a legend.
All right, let's dig into this best Ball Mania draft on Underdog Fantasy. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Al, and we drew the 8th spot in this BBM draft. Got some recognizable names that I already see in this draft. It's going to be an interesting one. Underdog, the app also, obviously they have, you can draft on desktop. I have my rankings that have been updated through establishtheRun.com. They partner with us on the stream and on the YouTube channel. Check down below in the description for a link to them. They have great pre-draft product and a great DFS product in the middle of the season. Promo code SmizzLife at checkout if you wanted the discount on that for a new member. So if you're a returning member, you can't use the promo code and get it. It's for new customers. If you're new to Establish the Run, go check them out. Use the promo code. So I think everything's going to go probably somewhat normal, you know, through the beginning of this draft. We'll see what we get at 8. The last one that we did for YouTube, we got the 9 pick, and somehow Alvin Kamara fell to us. I don't think that there should be any way that Alvin Kamara falls out of the top 5 in any draft, especially after the news that Michael Thomas is going to miss the first couple months of the season. Because if you look at the splits, when Michael Thomas is not on the field, Alvin Kamara basically has a ridiculously high floor and a tremendous ceiling. He's one of the best running backs in the league on a game in, game out basis. So, and he's not going to carry it 100% of the time. So like Latavius Murray also has a role in those games as well. So that's where you have to buy it. What about with Hill as quarterback? Whatever. He'll move the ball just fine. McCaffrey, Cook, Elliott. Elliott is the one player I think that draws a lot of variance here from pick 3 to like pick 7 or 8. Like he could go as high as 3 as he did here, and sometimes he falls down to like pick 8 and 9. It depends on just people's opinions of him. Kelsey goes in this range right here. Do I have an Underdog promo code? So the promo code on Underdog is basically your username. Don't use mine. In all these Underdog videos, I put the pinned comment is going to be for you guys to put your usernames in. And if you're new and you're going to create a new account on Underdog, use one of the names in that pinned reply so that you guys get the bonus. I think you get like 10 or 20, whatever you get some sort of deposit bonus when that person makes a new account and deposits. So let's spread it around the community instead of, you know, I don't need it. I'm fine. I'll give you guys the chance. You reply to that YouTube video with your name, and somebody who's new and wants to make an account on Underdog, use one of the names in the replies down below. Both you and that person will get a bonus. I went with Jonathan Taylor here at 1-8. Could easily go wide receiver here. Probably going to go with a bell cow and chill approach for this draft. Which is the majority of my drafts, right? Like I'll go with a running back in the first round, especially from at the first half of the drafts. And then I'll go wide receiver, or pass catcher. Maybe get a mid-round quarterback and then continue to draft a ton of pass catchers as we go along. Elites, thank you for the 14 months. Saquon at 111. He's been a lightning rod so far. When he's healthy, you know, when he's good, he's very, very good. And when he's injured, he gets you no points. So if you believe that he's back and fine, take him. Wide receivers have been falling massively in terms of their ADP. Sorry, running backs, my bad. Wide receivers have been jumping up the charts. Running backs have been falling massively in terms of their ADP on Underdog, as everybody's going with an anti-fragile approach, trying to draft wide receivers early. So you tend to get good value at running back as you move down, as opposed to having to go with a different approach. I'm going to go with AJ Brown here. I've been getting a lot of AJ Brown in the second round. Could have gone with Eckler there. I do like Eckler. I do like Antonio Gibson in that range. I'm not drafting much Nick Chubb. I understand he's quite good. It's not an indictment of Nick Chubb's skills. I'm just not walking away from drafts with a lot of Nick Chubb. And I think that's going to be a good team. And I think he's going to split some of the inside the 5 carries with Hunt. I think that he's not very involved in the passing game. And as talented as he is, he relies on chunk runs that end in touchdowns for him to have really big games. So, like, as good as he is, lower floor, I'd rather have a guy like Antonio Gibson, who, if deployed in the passing game the way that he should be deployed in the passing game this year, based on his skill set, it has the biggest capability, in my opinion, of taking a very, very, very big leap in his year 2 season. Of the running backs being drafted in this range, Nick Chubb, CEH. My word about AJ Brown is knee surgeries after the season. All football players get surgery. I see that you answered your own question here. I understand that all players have surgery after the season. It's just, yeah. Once you kind of understand that about the NFL, like, they all have either exploratory surgery or, he just he had to clean out the area a little bit. I'm going to make my camera a little bit smaller. Y'all don't need big me face here. The less of my face that you have to look at, it's probably a better user experience for you, the viewer. Terry McLaurin at 3-2. I've seen him kind of jump a little bit in terms of ADP recently, and it's interesting because I love Terry McLaurin. I'm really, as you can tell, I'm pretty high on this Washington football team offense collectively. My highest drafted player so far is Logan Thomas. I think that he gets way too many targets for the position that he's being drafted in, like the 9th and 10th rounds of drafts. CeeDee Lamb goes to ship my money. Good pick. That's who I was going to take if he was available. But there's basically no chance he was going to be available to me at 3-8. I think he takes a massive leap. Still high on the Dallas offense as well. And we're going to get to my top stacks video. I have that planned for later this week. I wanted to have it on YouTube by August the 1st. So we're going to get there. Amari Cooper, who is missing the first portion of camp. We'll see how quickly he comes back. Ooh, Mike Evans goes there. That's who I wanted. That's what I wanted. I don't normally do the thing. But I'm going to do the thing. Let's try and do the thing. Yeah, UNC says regarding the surgeries, I only worry about off-season surgeries if they Scottie Pippen the surgery. If Scottie Pippen schedules their surgery, like Mike Thomas, and schedules it in like July, then sure. Of course, Cooper Kai tried to do the thing, and Cooper Kupp went right after Bobby Trees. I was going to try and do the thing. I wanted to get Woods here and then Kupp on the way back, and then maybe get Stafford later and go with a whole, Ram stack. That way I'd have like the player blossom on the thumbnail. But, our Houston 13 said, no, you can't do this. Is why we can't have nice things. I can't have nice thumbnails. This is why. HPP, thank you very much for the 8 months, says Aaron. I'm interested to see where he goes. I'm also not worried. This is, okay, so best ball drafts are different because there's no transactions. right? So they're different from like the other high stakes leagues that run nationally because there's no transactions, no trades, there's no waivers. B. David going with a hyper running back approach. Saquon, Jones, Swift, and then Godwin. So you have to draft accordingly. It's a war of attrition. It's an 18-round draft. You're not picking anybody up in these drafts. Dynasty, totally different beast, right? You have to view things differently if you're playing Dynasty than if you're playing Redraft. And you have to view Best Ball differently than if you're playing Redraft. Love Thielen at this price point. Love Thielen in the middle of the 4th round. AJ Brown, Bobby Trees, Adam Thielen, Jonathan Taylor to start us off. The other thing that this gives us, Tannehill's ADP, Stafford's ADP, Kirk Cousins' ADP makes them pretty easy targets to stack where I don't need to reach on an earlier quarterback if I don't want to. I can still do that. I can still grab a quarterback in these mid rounds, 5th through 8th round. I often grab a quarterback, but it makes my secondary stack much easier. 2 rookies back to back, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts. Give me 2 seconds. Nick Rudman doing work. I had to refresh so that the work could be done. Been rolling the dice on some Wentz stacks late. Interesting. Deontay Johnson is polarizing because the games he started and finished, he was a monster, but he ran so bad in terms of his health last year, right? That he just didn't finish an awful lot of games. And if you don't finish games, you're not going to have a lot of points. So people look at, oh, he's not reliable. Sure, he had great, no, oh, he drops the ball. Who cares? He is one of the best in the league in terms of separation, which means that he's open. And if he's open, they're going to throw him the ball. But like, he got nicked a lot last year, and like, it cost him in terms of fantasy production on a week in, week out basis. It's working fine for me, D-Shop. Just refresh. Ayuk, love him. Sanders going in the 5th round. Like I said, running backs really, really, really falling. Running backs falling a lot on Underdog. But my standard builds this year have been more around Michael Thomas in the 5th round now. He decided that he's had enough, and that Michael Thomas should be a 3rd rounder. I'm going to get him in the 5th and hope that he only misses 4 games instead of however many. Like, he could miss 7, 8, 10 games this year. And in a tournament situation, I'd rather have a guy who's on the field. Yeah, way too early. Yeah, I'm not drafting an injured player like that. Mark Andrews goes at 5'6". Was not expecting that. I really wasn't. Henderson, who you know is my highest drafted running back, goes right there since the injury to Cam Akers. I've been going Kyler Murray here. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. I'm going to go over Josh Allen. I'm going to go over Kyler Murray. I've also gotten a lot of Mike Davis and Myles Gaskin at that point. I got a plan. I'm going to go with Lamar. Josh Allen goes right behind. You're always tempted to draft somebody like MT, but you can't do it. Do you mean you're tempted to draft a player that's going to miss the first 2 months of the season? Or I'm not. I just want to understand the context of the statement. You're tempted to draft him because he's falling because of an injury. You're tempted to draft him because you think that he may come back earlier. I know that there's a discussion there. I just don't know what discussion we're having. Players at value due to injury or suspension. True. I just don't think that the 5th round in a tournament season, if this is like the football season is now 18 weeks, best ball season for a sit and go league is 17 weeks. We're not playing that. Like, you got to make the playoffs. You got to come in 1 or 2 in this league to make the next round. So while he could be a boost for you when you get to the playoffs, he also might not be. He might not be there. People are taking him in 3-man. Yeah, 3-mans, I don't think you can take him. Devonta Smith going at 6. I know I have way too much Myles Gaskin. I don't care. Don't care. I also don't pay much attention to bye weeks, guys. Now, I don't want like 5 running backs that have a week 14 bye week, right? But like, I'll cover it. I'll have guys that can play that week. Yeah, Kyler falling this far. I would have taken a different player. I thought Kyler and Josh Allen were going to go between. The fact that Kyler's still available here is a little bit shocking. It's 67, 68. I think ship my money probably goes Kyler here. I don't know who his wide receivers are. I don't know if he's only going to focus on stacking. He does not have either. He went Tyler Boyd. One of these 0 QB teams has got to look at Kyler at this point and say, okay, there's too much value that fell. And even though the plan was not to take him, you know, like your draft plan may not have taken him, you have to be able to be nimble with your draft plans. And there it is. Like, if something changes, like, you remember the last draft that we did and it was like, well, it's the 9th round or whatever, and Russ is still on the board. I wasn't planning on taking Russ, but like, I'm not going to let somebody else take him at this point either. I'm just going to take the value. Hawkinson at 6'11". That's about where he's been going. Thanks for the stream. No problem, man. I'm on all the time during football season. 6 days a week. Twitch.tv. /Al_. Top tight ends available: Goddard, Fant, Higbee, Logan. Top wide receivers: Gallup, Brown, Fuller, Landry, other Brown. Running backs: Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, who has also fallen a little bit from his ADP to here. Both of the San Francisco guys. Gallup has been a great value. Quarterbacks, plenty on the board. Russ Wilson in the 7th. There goes Javonte off the board. I'm going to stack up Marquise here and his 100 targets from last season with Lamar. End of the 7th round. I unblocked this channel here at work so I can get my fix. Nice. You smell Logan? Not yet. The big mover has been Adam Troutman in terms of his ADP in the last week at tight end, where he was going like the 140s. Now he's up to like the 130s, and he might go over that pick as well. With the absence of Thomas, there's just nobody to throw to. I'm not saying I'm drafting him. I'm saying watch where he goes in this draft. To note the movement based on injuries. Kareem Hunt fell all the way to the 7-11. He was a 5th round pick. Harris been going around the 8th round, going in the end of the 7th here. One of Josh Norris's favorites. How about Tunyon with Rodgers indicating he's playing? Seems like a nice value. He's going way too late on other sites. So Tunyon was a bit too efficient last year. Will Fuller. I would have liked to have taken Will Fuller right here. I would have appreciated Will Fuller falling to me. That would have been nice. He didn't fall to me. Will Fuller is a program changer. Will Fuller makes your quarterback's jobs easier. Mecole Hardman going in the 8th. I can't. He's fun to watch. Brandon Cooks, who I might have too much of, goes there. I'm going to take Jarvis Landry. I wouldn't take Gus with Lamar. I would. Curious to see the running backs that I target in the old Hendo spot. We'll talk about that when we get there. Around the 11th rounds. 11, 12, 13, I usually draft running backs. Troutman might end up to be Coby Fleener 2.0. Is that bad, though? Go look back at Coby Fleener's stats for a couple of years. Like, he put up pretty solid, end of the draft wide receiver numbers, or tight end numbers, not wide receiver numbers. Herbert going end of the 8th. Hardman going in the 8th seems like a big mistake. His volume is so low and too many mouths to feed. Well, that's the thing. There's less mouths to feed with Watkins out of town now. So the number 1 and number 2 guys in the past game, Mooney has slid up now to the end of the 8th round since the Miller trade. The rumors or the projection or whatever is that Hardman's going to be the starter on the other side and take over the Sammy Watkins role. That has never been the case in the past. There's never been the case in the past. Whenever Sammy Watkins has missed time, they've gone with Robinson, they've gone with Pringle, and they haven't run Hardman out there. But if they run Hardman out there, and if he plays, 70, 80% of the snaps as the other outside wide receiver, if he's on the field basically all the time, then it's really hard to ignore. Because of Gus's ADP, would I take him with Lamar? Yeah, that's why. If I get Gus in this draft, he's going to be drafted as my RB 3, 4, 5, but so I don't need him. And in the case that he has a big week, it's never going to be, I understand he's negatively correlated with Lamar Jackson. It's not optimal, but sometimes if you're going to go with this sort of a draft strategy where you're waiting for late running backs, sometimes optimizing your correlation between the quarterback running back is, let's say, overweighted in the minds of players. Rookie Moore for the Jets, followed Corey Davis from the Jets. Davis may lead that team in terms of targets. He was quite good last year. He's 26 now? Question is, how good is that offense going to be? That's what I was going to take! I hate this draft. I was 100% going to take Higbee. Well, 61% Logan Thomas. I was 100% taking Higbee in that spot. Scuff draft, toss it out, doesn't count. I mean, it's going up on YouTube. Say hi to YouTube, chat. Say hi, YouTube. Here you go, YouTube. Chat says hi. I could do this. I could just put chat right here. Watch this. Oh, I can't. Because once I do something, once I click on the screen, it's going to put this in the back. So no, I can't do that. Sorry. Professional streamer, by the way. Aaron Rodgers in the 10th. Hurts in the 10th. Hurts. We talked about him. Go watch the other video. Go watch the impact of rushing quarterbacks video. Henry Ruggs. Dylan's going to have a role. Pollard's going to have a role. Latavius Murray's going to have a role. I'm going with Pollard. I got a lot of Tony Pollard. I totally understand. Dan Arnold in the last round might be your highest owned player. Interesting, CGV. Why is Pollard at pick 113 a bold move? That's what I don't understand. Why is that a bold move? A lot of people are not in on Pollard like at all. Pollard is great, but maybe you get one game. You mean what? That he starts for me? I think that they're going to expand his role a little bit. I think he's going to be... Latavius went there. That was my other possible pick, and I thought that Latavius might make it to me at the next pick, so I left him on the board. I think that both Pollard and Murray have the highest upside of the players in running back being drafted in this range. AJ Dillon, every running back's one play away from being the guy, but like AJ Dillon, I doubt is going to be utilized in the passing game as much as Aaron Jones is. He may steal some inside the 5 work from Aaron Jones, as good as Aaron Jones has been and as efficient as he's been inside the 5. If anything happens to Zeke, top 7 running back, oh, easily. Tannehill going at the end of the 10th. Tannehill is massively underrated. He's been going anywhere from the 8th to the 10th rounds, depending on the draft that you do. Murray plays more. Murray's going to play a lot early in the season because maybe I'm wrong here. Tell me if you think I am. Alvin Kamara has never been a guy that they are willing to constantly give the ball to 25 times a game combined. They keep him at like 18 to 22. And so if they're going to have to lean on the running backs a whole lot more at the beginning of this season with Michael Thomas out, then it would make sense that he's going to have a 9 to 13 touch output the first few weeks. Yeah, they did it for the first 4 weeks and then he couldn't handle it. And the coach basically said as much. He's like, yeah, he just can't do it. Like, he can't handle the ball that much. It's not who he is. Top running backs available: Connor, Fournette, Gordon, Williams, Singletary, Nyheim Hines. And then we kind of fall off a cliff to these bleh. bleh, guys. Top wide receivers, Perriman, Campbell, Sterling Shepard, who you guys know I have a lot of, Edwards, Jacoby, and Myers. I don't have very much of this guy at all. But as an RB4 at the back end of the 11th round, I think that's my first share of James Conner. There's ifs involved. Everybody in this range has warts. So, like, if you're going to say, I don't love James Conner, you're not going to love anybody at running back in the 12th round. 11th, 12th round. So, there is a path to inside the 5 carries for him over Chase Edmonds. You saw what happened, again, on the impact of running quarterbacks video that we did. If you watched that video, if you didn't, go watch that video. The difference in what they did around the goal line with Kyler Murray after he hurt his shoulder as opposed to before when they were running him a ton inside the 5. There's a lot of paths to touchdown equity for James Conner. Troutman in the 11th. That answers that question. It might be great. It might suck. I don't know what to do with that. Because Ingram, whatever. Gesicki gets a lot of targets, and granted, a lot of that was with guys out. Jonnu Smith moving to a situation where he's going to get a lot of targets. Everett is the number 1 guy in Seattle in a system where they use the tight end slot. Ferkser is the only guy there. Whether or not they bring somebody else in. Cole Kmet, meh. Cooper on the Chargers. Cooper on Cleveland. Blake Jarwin going at 172. I feel like we want to chase the shiny new toy too much. Sometimes a little bit too much. And maybe Troutman's not just the shiny new toy, because that's where I was drafting Jarwin last year, and he obviously got injured, so therefore it didn't work out. But like, it worked out positionally and with the team because Schultze had the great year. Again, this is, somebody asked, why do you have so much Sterling Shepard? Because in the 12th round, as my wide receiver 6, that's just where I end up, like, all the time. That's just where I end up. They just kind of slot in and fit there. So the philosophy, 12th round and on, you've heard, is another dead zone for wide receivers. It can be. I mean, let's look at who's there. They're all just kind of bleh. And I tend to draft 8 wide receivers. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 of them already. This is what's left on the board. It ain't great. There's nothing fantastic in that range. Like, there's some guys that can do some stuff. Crowder's the best in that range. The Jets are just a bunch of guys. Like, all the wide receivers on the Jets. That whole wide receiver room. I mean, no disrespect. They're obviously amazing athletes, like top 1% of the top 1% of the top 1% at what they do in the world. But when we're comparing likes to likes, that wide receiver room, it's just a bunch of guys. Corey Davis, Crowder, the kid they drafted. There goes Everett at 13. Like, okay. Is any one of them going to get over 115 targets? Can you project? There's like 5 guys. in that wide receiver room. And none of them stand out. And I'm the type of guy that thinks that Crowder's probably the most talented guy in that room. Trey Lance for San Francisco. I wonder when he's going to be the guy. I do wonder when he's going to end up being the guy. Tua, Baker. I'll go Fitz. So Fitz stacks with Logan Thomas. Lamar stacks with Marquise Brown. I've got some correlation throughout this lineup. I do need to pick up another running back. I am going to need to pick up another tight end, and then we'll fill out the roster as we go. Bears are hard to click. Bears are tough to click for me. The Bears are a team that is hard for me to click because I don't think they pass the ball a lot. I think that David Montgomery at his current ADP, which is like 5th round, is fine. I'm okay with him in the 5th round. You draft him in the 5th round, fine. But Allen Robinson's being drafted in the 2nd round. And I think they throw it 100 times less than they threw it last year. Especially the sooner that they go to Fields, I think the less they throw it over the course of the entire season. Can't take James White because he's a week 14 bye week and I already have 2. So week 14 bye weeks are out for me at running back, leaving me with Devin Singletary, McKissick, Coleman, Gainwell, Lindsey. I'm going to go with McKissick here. I do think that they're going to keep, I do believe that they're going to get Antonio Gibson more passing work than they got him before. More than they got him last year. But I think McKissick still will have a role, which as an RB5 is all I need. Because one target equals, and this is in full PPR. It's different in half PPR, but in full PPR, and Underdog is half PPR. So in full PPR, one target for a running back is worth 2.8 carries. So if I get 5-6 targets a game for McKissick, that puts me in a position as an RB5 where I can get some viable weeks from him, starting for me as a flex or as an RB2. Like if Allen gets 140, if Allen Robinson gets 140 targets for the Bears again, then he's going to be awesome because he's awesome and he's done it with horrible quarterbacks. And I think Fields is an upgrade from the quarterbacks that he's had in his career. So if that happens, then that puts him in a position to maybe pay that off. But if they throw it 100 or 120 times less this season, 100, 120 less attempts through the air, which is extremely possible, you're now looking at a spot where it's going to be very, very difficult for him to pay that off. Right. Thank you very much for the 35 months with a tier 2. 1 month away from 3 years of subscription to the channel. Thank you, dude. Amon-Ra St. Brown, brother of Equiminius. I was going to take Blake Jarwin. I've been sniped a bunch this draft. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Kenny Gainwell going in the 15th. The running back that, smallish running back who kept Antonio Gibson from starting in college. You assume Fields the running QB? Very much so. Yes. If he is named the starter, he'll run it 8+ times a game. Easy. Very, very easy. That's not Aaron Rodgers. It's Amari. Before somebody in the in the comments freaks out. We'll go with Jared Cook. Going to Los Angeles for the Chargers. As my tight end 2, would have rather had Blake Jarwin because, you know, stays on brand for me. But 10 pick savings on ADP. I think Cook does fine. There's Kirk Cousins. Remember I told you early, very easy to stack Adam Thielen as a double or a triple stack. If you draft Jefferson in the 2nd, Thielen in the 4th, you see Cousins going in the 15th, Irv Smith going in the low, let's see, like 11, 12, 13. I forget exactly where his ADP is. But they're a very easy team stack. Very easy team stack. I'm filled out for what I want at quarterback, running back, and tight end. So we're going to be looking at wide receiver. This is what's left on the board in total. Preston Williams just tweeted out something that was very ambiguous today. He just tweeted out like a zipper face emoji. Don't know what that means. But, you know, if you're drafting on emoji tweets, he's got to shoot up your board. Van Jefferson, solid second-year player. Scotty Miller might be where you want to go. But now I've lost the player that I want. This room has sniped me enough. So I'm not going to get sniped. I believe he would be available for me in the 17th round. But based on how this draft has gone for me, I'll take him ahead of ADP. Keelan Cole is the guy that the Jets, with this new coaching staff, just brought in and paid him multiple millions of dollars. And I think he's one of those 5 guys who's in that room and is going to play on the outside. I think that him and Davis play on the outside. I think that Crowder and Moore fight for the slot work. I think they go 3 wide a lot. Zacchaeus is another guy who's upticking in terms of his playing time this season with Julio Jones leaving town. Reynolds, somebody who is ticking down in terms of his projectable playing time with Julio Jones coming to town. Do I track who's vaccinated versus who's not for drafting purposes? That question violates my HIPAA rights, so I'm going to decline to answer. That's my private. That's between me and my family who I'm going to be drafting. There's no way of knowing who's vaccinated and who's not. I do think it's going to piss some people off in the middle of the season when they find out that somebody that they drafted is not vaccinated and therefore missing some time. Sometimes they tell you. I agree with you. I'm messing with you, Dino. If it wasn't clear by what I felt was my very sarcastic tone, I'm just being funny. Baker Mayfield, who again on sports books has a over-under for touchdowns at 29 going in the end of the 16th round. It's very possible to get, you know, solid backup quarterbacks for fantasy, QB2s, rounds 13 through 16. I'm of the belief that you need 20 points per game from your quarterback in best ball. You still don't know how Rashad Penny is being drafted. He's one play away. I have a lot of him. It's running back, and running back is highly volatile. Now, all these wide receivers look exactly the same to me. This feels wrong. Daniel Jones being available in the 17th round feels very, very wrong to me. So while my base is 2-5-8-2, I will add another player, usually at quarterback or tight end. I'll go 3 and 2 or 2 and 3. Getting Daniel Jones 30 picks after his ADP, a mobile quarterback. Van Jefferson is on the move. Like he got traded? What did I miss? I'm like looking down at Twitter now, trying to figure it out. Oh, is the move. I thought it said is on the move. I like Van Jefferson a lot late in drafts. As in, you know, they drafted him. Second year wide receivers tend to take a bit of a jump. I agree with all of that. Guys that I would target here in the 18th round: Renfro, Miller, Jefferson. I mean, I got to bump Preston Williams up because he did tweet out an emoji only tweet today. So there is that. We're going to bump him a little bit. They drafted Tutu Atwell, but like, he doesn't play rookies all that much. DPJ, people think is going to take a massive jump. Colin Johnson showed very well last season. Has better quarterback play this season. So like that would be my list of round 18. Some of them have higher upside. This would be an upside play, upside play, upside play, floor play. Maybe he starts a week or two. None of these guys should play for you, right? They just kind of shouldn't. So I'm going to take a look at bye weeks real quick. I have 1 week 11. He's also on the Rams. I think that Rams offense is going to be really, really, really good this year. I'll take a second Ram, even though I don't have the Rams stack there. So that's going to end this team. Lamar Jackson, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Daniel Jones, all three with a single stack. Jonathan Taylor, Myles Gaskin, depth at running back with Pollard, James Conner, J.D. McKissick is my RB5, A.J. Brown, the grown-ass man, Bobby Trees, Adam Thielen, Marquise Brown, Jarvis Landry, Sterling Shepard, Keelan Cole, who I think is going to play a bigger role in New York for the Jets than many people are willing to let on. Van Jefferson, I think is going to be solid, is what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to be like a wide receiver 1 or anything out of line. Like, let's not get ridiculous here. Logan Thomas, who my highest drafted player throughout the summer so far, led the league in terms of routes per dropback at that position. More routes per dropback than Kelsey, more routes per dropback than Darren Waller, one of 2 wide receivers with 80% or higher, and following him up with Jared Cook, who's going to fill in here or there as he has to. Thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video. There and there. Bye. He's a legend.